Hello and welcome to another episode of The Hollywood Knitter. My name is Allison. I'm your host. I'm recording on Sunday, July 6th from my home in Los Angeles, California, where we just are in the middle of a holiday. I'm at the tail end of a vacation. This is vacation mode. And I have some stuff to share with you. It's been a little while. I thought I would catch up and tell you what's been going on. It's been pretty busy for me the last 2 months, and yeah, let's share. So surprisingly, not that many FOs. C'est la vie. Some days you have it, and I only have 2 of the 3 to show you. I have a picture of one, but I have 2 new pairs of scrappy socks, and this is my quest to get rid of some of my old half balls of yarn that I have for making socks, because as evidenced by making socks for myself, I only require about 250 yards, which is not a whole ball. Anyways, first up is this one. This is the main body, which is this color, is Lana Grossa Melon White Nestle in Everest. It's one of those hardworking yarns, and I had 40 grams of it, and then I paired it. This is Stranded Dye Works and Hazardous that I got as a knockers that I just used in another project, and so I used about 20 grams of that. So between the 2 of them, I got a pair of socks. You can see they're not exactly exact. I don't need my stripes exact. So another pair of socks, probably charity, maybe me, I don't know. I have so many socks in my sock bin that I have to go through them and decide. I need to start making socks for some other people. Anyways, sock number 1. Took me a few weeks to do. I think it took me about 3 weeks to do these socks, but I'm really happy with the blue. The other one is another scrappy pair, and this one is a self-striping paired with a mini that I made into like super mini stripes, and then contrasting toe and heel with my many minis that I have. I have a lot of minis. Anyways, so this is this one. Look how cool that is. So this is actually, you can see the colors. Those are actually a self-striping yarn. And then, and it's Nomadic Yarn, Spark Sock, and Sabrina's Dark Baptism that I did a pair of socks, I think, for my boyfriend. And then the yellow and the blue are minis. You can see more of the self-striping there on the heel. I have been doing my Ducati heel on both of these, though I have a new heel today. And yeah. Another pair of socks. Definitely probably charity. And then the other project I finished was a cowl for my mother. It was a gift for her birthday, and I actually already gifted it. So I'm going to stick a picture right here of it that she took for me, because I even forgot to take pictures. I'm such a bad knitter sometimes. But this was the Foolproof cowl by Louise Zass-Bangham, and I knit it about 3 weeks. I started it in May, and I finished it June 15th. 600 yards of ULA LIA fingering Mongolian cashmere. This yarn is so nice. The colors are crimson and cream, and this was yarn that I picked up. This was the first yarn that came, the first Kickstarter I've backed, and for ULA LIA. And it's a gentleman that's been doing a Kickstarter since, I got this yarn in 2018, so it was probably 2017 that he did his first Kickstarter, and I have a lot of his yarn. He does Mongolian, he does cashmere, he does wool blends, he does camel, he does something else, and I don't know, I like delayed gratification, and the cashmere is really affordable if you get it through the Kickstarter. It was funny, I actually saw this yarn listed on a website. He does sell it as well, and for what I was able to get it through the Kickstarter, you know, it's like, I don't know, it was half the price maybe. It has gone up. Obviously this yarn I got in 2018 is a different price now, but it's cashmere, and it's fingering, and it's nice. And I think the Kickstarter is still on for another few days. And it's ULA plus LIA on Kickstarter. And if you've never backed a Kickstarter, of which I have many a times, it basically is a crowdfunding website that lets you back someone's idea that then allows them to get it manufactured. And so usually we'll get it for a cheaper price. However, there's risk. There's a chance you'll never get it, of which I haven't had too many. But it has happened, especially after the pandemic, where they just weren't able, and they don't have to give you your money back. So it is that risk. And then it's delayed. So like I backed it again for a sweater's worth of cashmere, and I back it now and pay now in July. And I think he ships yarn usually January, February. So he already has, anyways, if you're interested, go look at it. I highly recommend it. He is very trustworthy. You are not going to lose your money. And the yarn is beautiful. And I have a camel sweater. I have now this cowl I've given my mom. I have at least 2 more sweater, maybe 3 more sweater quantities back. Sorry, had to sneeze. Yeah, so I love the yarn. You'll definitely see more of it because I do, as I said, I think one of my sweaters this year that I'm going to be doing is out of the wool blend I got. I think a DK. He has fingering DK. This year you can get cones, which is what I think I got. I got a cone of cashmere, finger and cashmere. So very exciting. What is happening with what am I working on? What am I working on? The big thing I'm working on is a sweater. It's a sweater and it's a knit along with knitting friends from Maryland. We decided to do this sweater. We picked out the yarn, or we all bought the yarn from the same place, different colors, and we're all kind of knitting it. And this is, and I apologize for my pronunciation, the Heimathafen by Isabell Kraemer. And this is how much I have done. So the yarn we all decided to use was Pearl Soho. This is the linen quill. I've never used linen quill before, but I really like it. And mine is in Stonewall Gray and Purple Clematis. And the Purple Clematis is actually a gift from my friend Liz. She had the mini sets, and so I was able to get 2 minis from her, and that is enough for my stripes. So you can see I have 1 more stripe to do on the body, probably. I'm about 9, maybe 10 inches in, and then sleeves. And then it's just a rolled hem. It's this thing called a dip stitch. It's super easy. And you can see it. It creates this thing. It'll look much better when blocked. We actually saw our friend Liz had done it, and her sweater was great. So this is what I have been working on. And it's great because once you get past the sleeves, and only this little dip stitch, this is all stockinette. I'm not doing any increases. The pattern has an option to do some A-line increases. I'm not doing any of that. So I am just doing a lot of stockinette. As you can see, it was great. Did some travel recently, and so I brought it. It was great travel knitting. It's great mindless knitting, but yeah, pretty pleased with it. Pattern's easy. It's my first Isabell Kraemer pattern. She is obviously a very prolific designer, and I've never actually knit any of her patterns. So that's exciting. And I want to show you. This is in my Super Summer Knit Together 2014 bag. One of the, not the first, but one of my earliest knitting conventions I go. And Super Summer Knit Together is done by the Knit Girls in Nashville, Tennessee. They're doing it again this year. I was hoping to go, but I had other plans that I had to make for that weekend. So, pause again. Yeah, I got some allergies or something going on. I don't know. Anyways, the other thing I cast on, which was with a new acquisition that I picked up at Maryland, is the Inner Peace Shawl by Joji Locatelli. And this is how much I got. Now, this was a yarn or a pattern that I had done. I cast on with another yarn and it wasn't the right yarn. And I picked this yarn up. This is Avalon Springs, Pendragon, and Swan Feathers. It's 100% merino. It's 555 yards that I got in Maryland. And I should be able to get a shawl from this. I'm a little over halfway. I'm definitely going to have to do some aggressive blocking, which was my plan. I probably could have gone up a needle size to make it just a little looser, but I didn't. The only modification I am doing is the baubles. She calls for like these hangy, they almost look like skin tags to me, honestly. That's why I didn't do them. But she had like these little hangy baubles, and she had them very frequently on her edge. And so I've changed it to a more normal bauble, and my frequency is a little further apart, and I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, I'm about halfway done. This is what I primarily have been working on planes, because a plane is where I can get dedicated knitting time and I can pay attention to a pattern. And especially when I was doing kind of these kind of turn sections, I paid more attention. So now I'm on the straight, but I have to pay attention again because I need to make sure I don't run out of yarn. And so I might have to adjust this section a little bit in terms of the number of rows to make sure I have enough yarn to get to the halfway point and then come back. So I actually probably will pay attention to this a little bit this weekend so that I can have my scale next to me and keep weighing it. But overall, I'm really happy. I mean, Hohi's patterns are great. I like it. I wanted just kind of a neutral, and it's not going to be a big shawl. It's going to be more of kind of a mix between, the size will be my wingspan. So it will be a good wraparound, which honestly is what I wear the most. I have a few big shawls and I like them, but I don't wear them. I sometimes bring them places where it's really cold in the winter, but my shawlettes or small ones or drapey ones, those are the ones that I still will wear and put on. So pretty pleased with this one. Inner piece. I cast on another sock, not a scrappy. I wanted to just a mindless sock, less yarn management. And then my friend Holly sent me the link to the new Knitty pattern. It's Palindrome by Amanda Schwabe, which has a different heel. I am a sucker for a different construction for any socks. So I've already done it. And here is the first sock. Actually, since I have sock blockers here, let me put it on. I made this some travel knitting on a recent trip I just did. I'll tell you about in a minute. And the yarn is 716 knits, socks, and the girl makes Godot look functional. It's an 80/20. It's very, very nice. It's plumper than not plumper, but you know, a little thicker. I'd say almost heavy fingering, but I love the stripes. She does great stripes, Jenna. And the heel, interesting heel. So the Palindrome pattern, it's free on Knitty. Go check it out. Knitty has been around forever. One of my first things I definitely knit was from there. And her pattern, she actually lets you go from here and actually keep going and do another sock and then do off and then cut. I didn't want to do it that way. I just really kind of wanted to try the heel. And so that's all I did. So mine is modified that way in the fact that if you follow the pattern, you actually just come up with a tube and it's two socks and then you cut and do it that way. But the heel is very interesting. It's kind of this eye of partridge where you just do all of these increases and then decreases. And I kind of like it. I'm going to try it in another kind of yarn or another sock. Pairing wise or size wise, probably I could have made the sock a little bit longer. You can see how it's a little stretched here. So I think I could have gone a few more rows on the foot before I started the heel, but pretty happy with it. And I love this yarn. So these probably will be for me because I love the yarn. I just might have to block the socks so they're just a little longer. But part of that is I should have gone up a needle size because this is a slightly heavier yarn than I usually knit. And so I'm still doing them on my, what am I doing them on? My 1.5s. Yeah. And I probably should have gone up to 2s and that would have helped. But you know, live and learn, live and learn. And sometimes, you know, c'est la vie. You make do. And I have it in this bag, Nomadic Yarns, little box bag. Love it. Love it. The only other thing I'm knitting on, and it's kind of just in between other things and just trying to get through, is my charity knitting for this year will be knitted knockers. I used to do mother bears occasionally, but they have gone defunct, as I'm sure a lot of you have heard. So instead I'm doing knockers. I don't have any up here. I just have one cast on right now. And the yarn I'm using is just Patton's Grace. I got it at Michael's. I also have done Cascade Pima that I picked up like at retreats at a D-stash table or anything, and these are super easy to do, mindless. And I'm trying to do, I don't know, 1 or 2 a week to knock out all of the cotton yarn I have and basically then hold them for the next retreat. I typically donate these at the Knockers retreat in April, so we just passed. So these will be what I do next year. I'll put them away. I might do a few more next 2026 and then donate them. So yeah, that's all the knitting I have right now, but I have a lot of travels and acquisitions and things that I've done since I last talked to you. I went up to Santa Cruz. My boyfriend's son graduated from college, so he graduated from UC Santa Cruz. I didn't do any knitty things when I was up there. It was just it was too quick a trip. And we basically drove up, and it's a 5 to 6 hour drive from LA up to Santa Cruz and back. And yeah, but it was beautiful. I did get out for a walk. I saw a little craft fair in the downtown area, so I didn't bring them, but I bought some little bags this very cute woman was making. I've turned one into my travel cord bag and the other into a little makeup bag, but very cute. Anyways, and then the other big trip was Zombie and Apocalypse. So Zombie and Apocalypse is a retreat put on by the Stockinette Zombies, Megan and Amy. Been going for, I think, 13? No, I know it's 13 because that was the theme this year. 13 years. And it's funny because I actually met Megan at Super Summer Knit Together in, early. So went to theirs. Theirs is in Rochester, Minnesota. I've been going for a number of years, have different friends that I see there every year. And this year their theme was Lucky 13. And then this is their project bag. And I love this project bag. This is it's going in my car to be like a grocery bag, I think. It is a sturdy canvas bag with their little logo this year, which was Lucky 13. And yeah, I will say that I don't always keep retreat bags, but I definitely love a canvas bag. And this one is, as I said, super heavy duty. I love the red. I like how it's subtle. I know what it is, but not everybody. And it will be very useful. So that was the retreat bag. Let me bend down and get my yarn. So, what did I get? What did I get? Let's show the retreat yarn. So the retreat yarn, there were 3 dyers. I forget who the other 2 were, but that way, because it's a pretty big retreat. It's like over 100, maybe 120 people, and it's held in the Hilton in Rochester. And so they usually have multiple dyers that dye the yarn for the goodie bag, and you are random in what you get. I was very lucky and got my friend Janice's yarn. And this is Queen City, and this is in red envelope. And this goes back with the lucky theme and things like that. So this is based on the red envelopes that I believe it's Chinese that you get with money and things like that, especially for New Year's. And so this is her note to sock, and love it. This also is my alma mater's colors because I graduated from the University of Southern California, Cardinal and Gold. So this will make a pair of socks for me in my alma mater colors. Super happy. Then, in no particular order per se, I also picked up one skein from the D-Stash table, and I was trying to be, not greedy because I don't need it, but somebody, I don't even know, people put that stuff, yarn and giveaways and bags and things that they don't want to take home with them. And so I just picked up one skein. It's the Simply Socks Splash Sock. And it's more, the colors are more kind of muty and neutral, manly. So I could use the socks to make them for my boyfriend or my brother. And it's just sock weight, superwash merino. So I did pick up that. That was the only thing I picked up from the D-Stash table. It's very good for me. Oh, every year you get a mug. This is this year's mug. I love, this is after I show it, this is going into my rotation. I have another, I don't have their mug, but this is my current favorite mug. And I like it because it holds a lot. And this is like a 16 ouncer. So going to use it. In it are some stickers that we got, a little coin, stickers from various people. This was buying yarn and using it, our 2 different hobbies. It's very cute. 716 knit. We got little patches, a little there, and a horseshoe if you're into patches. And then we also got a tape measure. I think Jenna from Knit Buffalo donated that. So I just put them in there for travel, and I will figure out new homes for that. But very excited for my mug, and I love green, so I'm going to put this into my rotation. Now, yarn. I went to the yarn tracks. So there's 2 opportunities to buy yarn at this retreat. There are yarn tracks that come, and they do them on Friday now. They have 3 of them. And I went over, and one of the things I bought, and I can't remember which truck I bought it from, but I was I've wanted to get the Chagu mini set. It's the Twist Minis, interchangeable, and these are 5-inch tips, and these are sizes 000, 00, 0, 1, and 1.5. And these are not needle sizes I have. Now, to be fair, they're probably not needle sizes I'll have to use very often, but I liked having them. I mean, look at these. These are the 000s. These are so tiny, but you never know. So it's on my list. I didn't want to get so much yarn, and this was something I wanted. So I picked up that from one of the yarn trucks. And then the other thing I picked up was from 716 Knits. Now, as you can see, I'm knitting socks, and so I have a decent amount of sock stash, but I saw this and I fell in love with it. And she basically is selling handspun, her own handspun. And I saw this and it just called to me. I mean, look at that. Moody. It is 572 yards. She says handspun with perspective, and it is merino black Welsh, and she called it black gobstopper, but I can do something with this. I could stripe it in a sweater, or I could do a shawl, but I just loved it. And I don't spin, so I appreciate other people spinning. Then the market was on Saturday. A lot of vendors, some of the same vendors, some new vendors. And I was pretty restrained, let's go with. One of the things I got was Woolens and Noshes there. And if you're not aware, she is a dyer who specializes in beautiful self-striping. I actually, I've never knit with her yarn. I've admired it, and I've seen her at shows, and I've had some friends gift me some Woolens and Nosh, but I haven't knit with it. I'm going to try to change that this year and cast on. But I got the Sunkissed colorway. This was, I believe, the retreat colorway, and it just made me happy. And yeah, just made me happy. So I picked it up and support. Oh, you know what? I take it back. I have knit Woolens and Nosh because I did her sock advent last year, and I was able to get into the second round to get her sock advent for this year. So I was pretty excited. I did that on vacation because I missed the first round, sold out. And then she announced she was opening up more spots. And so I was able to snag one while on vacation, because sometimes that's what you do. All right. The other thing I picked up for a sweater, and again, this is, I've noticed, I don't know, after this retreat, I noticed that this is something that is a thing more places. But this is a Sister's Weekend Yarn Co. And the base is Grandma Share Sock, and it's a merino, 15% or 85% merino, 15% neon donicles. And I just love those neon pops and the cream. And so I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. So I got 3 skeins, enough for me to do a sweater. And yeah, these are my colors. I like them. I love the little, you know, it has orange and the green neon pops and the yellow and some pink. So no idea what that sweater is going to be. It's probably going to marinate for a while, but happy with that purchase. And then the last purchase is when I went back probably twice, you know, because that's what happens when you're there in the market. As you go initially, I usually do a walk around, see if anything has to, go back, talk to other people, see their purchases, go back. So this was one I actually bought in the afternoon and I had seen. And I'm going to do a knit along with my friend Becky because we both picked it up. And this is Lavender Loon. She does beautiful dyeing. And this is a yarn she calls Moonrise. Again, I'm into the nuts, but this is an 32% alpaca, 8% linen, 42% merino, 18% donicle, 437 yards in a fingering. And she had a sample of this knit up as a 1 skein shawl from Hohi, and it's, I forget what the name of it is, but it sold me. Like I like a different yarn base. This is not one I've had before. I liked it. I went with a slightly different color for me. I mean, the nuts are still me, but the purple, the deep purple. And yeah, just something to try out. So I was super pleased. So didn't go crazy with my yarns things. 1 sweaters, 1 shawl, 1 maybe 2 pairs of socks. So all very doable. And the retreat, as always, was wonderful. I got lots of knitting time, hanging out with friends, seeing people. It always fills me up. Fills me up. So that was ZK. That was in June. And then a week later, I came back and I went to Florida because my mom was turning 70. And so she was going to be in Florida. That's where she wanted to go. That's where my grandmother lives. My grandmother's birthday is actually tomorrow. No, 2 days from now, the 8th. And so she was going down there to celebrate, and she wanted to have her birthday there. So I flew out. My boyfriend and I flew out on a Friday and stayed in the Tampa area. My uncle lives a little north of Tampa. And hung out with my mom. Gave her the shawl, which she loved. And then, yeah, and then just hung out with family. So we did that. We saw my grandmother, who is turning 93. So we spent some time over there and just hung out. We brought a bunch of card games really. And so we did a day where we just played card games, sat around and did that. So that was fun. And then we also went kayaking one of the days for like 2 hours on the Weeki Wachee River. I saw a manatee. I lived in Florida when I was young, from the age of 5 to 11. So pretty much elementary school. And I don't remember ever seeing a manatee, especially not in the wild. And it was not the time of year to see manatees. So although we were kayaking on this, river, I was not expecting to see manatees. They're usually there in the winter, but we did see one and it was very cool. We also saw birds and jumping fish and a raccoon and an otter. Like, yeah, it was a very beautiful, clear river, as Florida is known for. So it was a great trip. My trip back, not so much. We flew out early on Thursday. We wanted to be back for the 4th. Thought we might be doing some family stuff with his family. That didn't materialize, which I was perfectly happy with. But anyway, so we flew out on Thursday. We were delayed getting out of Tampa because of rain, and then that made us miss our connection. Literally, you could see the plane pulling out, and they pulled out 2 minutes early. It was very annoying. But then we had to get rerouted, and there were a lot of delays in Dallas, and so we got rerouted. Added another 8 hours of travel day. We had to take an extra. Instead of going directly from Dallas to the airport that I was flying into this time, which is Burbank, which is closer to my house in the LA area, we had to fly to Phoenix and then to Burbank. So adding more trips. And then our bags did not make it with us, which is fine. I normally don't check bags, but I did this time because I brought more stuff, and so the bags didn't make it. And then we went back on the 4th because the bags flew the next day. So they got into Burbank on the 4th and went over to the airport, and the baggage was closed. Because it's such a tiny airport, and American Airlines literally only flies 4 flights a day out of it. They're not open all the time. So I went to REI and actually picked up a backpack. And then we came home, and we're probably home, I don't know, an hour, and then they called and said, "Oh, we're here now." I was like, oh, great. So I went back and picked it up, but that meant I got my luggage. I was slightly scared, mainly because of my sweater. I checked my sweater. Everything else, I was like, okay, I can lose clothes. That's not a big deal. I could lose, whatever, but I didn't want to lose my sweater. So, we got it all back. It was fine. Actually, I already did laundry. That's what I did. We had, for the 4th of July, we didn't do anything. We got chilled out. 4th of July in Los Angeles is... Fireworks are not legal in Los Angeles, but you wouldn't know that on the 4th. And so I actually live a little bit on a hill and can see the Elysian Valley, and we usually just go on the roof and I watch fireworks for anywhere from 10 minutes to a half hour. Fireworks go on from, they start at usually 6 before the sun goes down, and I think we were hearing, I had to put earplugs in, but they were still popping off at 2 in the morning, so constantly. And then you get up the next morning and there's the haze because of so much fireworks. So, but it was a very chill fireworks, very chill 4th of July. Yeah, 4th of July is interesting. There's a lot of interesting things going on in this country right now, so it is an interesting holiday to think about. And now I'm recording with you and just trying to get organized. So that is one of the things I've actually done. I'm going to show the last few weeks before I went on some of these trips, I had to do more organization. The love of my life is a collector of board games and other things, and they just keep coming into the house. And I am a bit of an organizational freak. and that I need everything to have a place. And so we had run out of shelf room, and so I used that as an opportunity to make some changes that I wanted to make, to bring in some more shelving, some more storage, blah, blah, blah. But the big thing I got out of this is I bought a piece of furniture off of Wayfair, and it's this glass front cabinet, and I'm now housing all of my knitwear in it. I'm going to show a picture right here of it. I was very happy with it. It is intended to be my sweaters, which you can see on the shelves, both my long sleeve and my short sleeve. And then the top is going to be some yarn storage, not that much yarn in there yet. And then, yeah, and then I have another shelf. In the drawers, I put my knit socks. So, super excited with that. It was very easy to build, though I did have to do a lot of McGuivering afterwards because, you know, it's a piece of furniture you build yourself. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't tight, and I do get moths. So I went on this rabbit hole of ways to basically seal it better. So I got epoxy, you know, kind of clear bathroom epoxy. There's like some sealing in the beginning. I put weather stripping around the door and then put some new, some magnets so it would hold it tight against the weather stripping to basically try to keep it from having so many open holes. And then I also put, you know, cedar and some other stuff in there. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. I like being able to see all my sweaters. And oh, I actually picked up 2 new sweaters at Zombie Apocalypse, because that's the other cool thing that they do is people bring sweaters that they want to give away. And I brought one sweater that I had actually picked up at another retreat that was a little too big for me now. And I picked up a t-shirt from my friend Martha that I actually wore in Florida. It looks great with, I have a pair of white linen pants, and then another sweater for my friend Janice. So maybe I'll show those another time or when I'm wearing them. But yeah, so they're in that. They're in that. Books. I have read 23 books since last time we talked. So I'm up to 81 for the year. So I am looking pretty good. I think I will keep my numbers. I am averaging the last 2 years like 160. So I'm right there. I have read a few, you know, supernatural romances, which are like my trash. And I have an author, Jeffe Kennedy, that I'm reading a new series by. But I did want to highlight Bride by Ali Hazelwood, which I've never read this author before. I'll put it up here. But this book, if you're into the supernatural kind of romance, but not really, this was a really great world building. I'm hoping that there'll be other books in this world. But it is a different kind of world where humans, vampires, and werewolves live. And they're like the 3 kind of species, and everyone knows about them, but they all keep very separate. And there's this, the way they keep the peace is that they all have like a child of a prominent person of the other race that lives. And it's kind of this, that's how they maintain the peace. And so this bride is then becomes the vampire, marries the werewolf, and then how it goes about there. But it was very well written. I really enjoyed reading it. I loved A New World. And I love the cover. Isn't this cover so cool? It's very cool. I read an Abby Jimenez romance book, The Friend Zone. I have just started reading her, but she does a lot of great kind of modern, or at least this one was like a modern romance kind of thing. I want to highlight Sean McGuire's Wayward Children series. So I read a lot of this author. She has the October Day series. She has there's another series I read too. But this is her young adult series, and it's Wayward Children. And the premise is that we all hear these stories. Alice in Wonderland, you know, kids open a door and go to these fantastic worlds and go on these journeys. And then sometimes they come back, and what happens then? And so this is kind of these, and there's lots of worlds out there, but it's the Wayward Children. So this woman who has gone into this world and come back has opened a school for them, because obviously you've come back from this fantastic world that nobody believes in. And usually these worlds, the reason you're chosen to go to these worlds is because there's something about them that appeal to you. They're where you should be or not. And for whatever reason, people come out of the world. And so there's these series of stories. The first series was just setting up the house and like meeting some of the characters, and the subsequent stories have been either of the children in the world or things, previous characters you've met. And so I actually did 3 audio. I started reading them initially, and this last round I did audiobook, and they're like 4 to 5 hours of audiobook. And so I did Come Tumbling Down, Across the Green Grass Fields, and Where the Drowned Girls Go. 5, 6, and 7. 5 and 7 are kind of continuations of characters you meet in the earlier books and different adventures of them. Across the Green Grass Fields was a standalone. It was a new character. It was a girl who's into horses but has problems, you know, in home, and then the world opens up, and it's this world where she can talk to horses, and her adventure of living with these centaurs, and it is just very well written, kind of fantasy. It is young adult, so there's no adult themes really, you know, in it. And it's just a great adventure story. I'm a sucker for a great adventure story. So if you're looking for something like that, or you have young adult kids that are looking for something, I highly recommend the Wayward Children series by Seanan McGuire. I really enjoy all of her writing. What else? On the recommendation of the Fat Squirrel, Amy Beth, I picked up Juneau Black Shady Hollow series, and I listened to the first audiobook, and this is it is a basically all of the characters are animals, but they're very the story is not animal based. It's just these characters are animals, and so there's some things to it. So, and then it's a mystery. You know, I love me a mystery. And so it follows all these characters. It basically, somebody was murdered, and it was the fox who is a news reporter, the bear who is the sheriff, and all of these different characters, and trying to figure out, you know, who murdered. And it was very entertaining, and I believe there are more, so I will be picking up and listening to the other books. But that's Juneau Black Shady Hollow series. Thank you for the recommendation, Amy. And then Mystery and Crime. I am up to so many series right now. So I read a short story from Martin Walker on the Bruno Chief of Police series. It was 12.5. It was Oyster Catcher. And then I listened to Shooting at Chateau Rock. That's book 13. I read a Margaret Maron Deborah Knott mystery. Again, audiobook. I'm up to book 13. I'll be sad. I think there's only 20 books, so I need to space them out a little bit, because I'll be sad when the series is done. I don't get to visit the character anymore. I also started 2 new series. So I don't even know how I got onto these, but one is Deborah McCromie, Kincaid and James mystery series. And I listened to the first 3 books. So A Share in Death, All Shall Be Well, and Leave the Grave Green. And this is a British series, and it follows a main detective and his assistant, who is a junior detective, and she, so they're like a yin and yang. The first book is very interesting. Like, he's on vacation, and like this murder happens, and he helps him. And it's very formulaic, but I like the characters. By the 3rd book, I think the 2 main characters are going to get together, but they have some, you know, so there's that kind of subplot to the book. So as I said, I listened to the first 3 already, and I don't know how many they are, but there's quite a few. I also started a very, very fluffy murder mystery series by Carol Perry. It's called The Witch City Mystery, and it's about a woman who comes back to Salem, Massachusetts, and has some kind of powers, but she's a former news reporter, lived in Florida, and, you know, the first book, Caught Dead-Handed, is a murder. She gets hired by the local radio station, news station, to host a kind of late night supernatural kind of a cult where she takes calls from callers and, you know, kind of does advice, and based because the previous host died. So she's kind of thrown in last minute, and then turns out that she helps to find the killer, and turns out she has some latent powers, and there is a very handsome detective, etc. So I also read the second one. She's no longer working at the station, but there's another murder mystery, another murder, which is always kind of funny if you're not police based, that so many murders happen in these towns. But anyways, that's Carol Perry, The Witch city mystery. If you're looking for light, fluffy series, I picked it up and I'm enjoying it. I also read Irina Shapiro, or listened to Tate and Bell Mystery, which these are 1800s. Murder at the Founding Hospital. I really like these characters. I think they also are going to get together in the next book, but she does a very well written, 18th century, 19th century murder. So that's what I've been reading. The other ones I did two kind of, let's call them literary. I did The Magnificent Ruins by Nayantara Roy. This was a beautiful written story about a girl goes back to India because her grandfather left her the family home, and then the dichotomy of being someone who lived there younger but has lived in the States. That's where her father is and her mother is there, and the family dynamics, and it was just really well done. And then the imagery is very beautiful. I have been to India. There is a lot of beauty in India, a ton. And so yeah, it was very well done. And then another one I read was Gonzalez and Daughter Trucking Co. by Maria Amparo Escandon. And this was based on, I read another of her books recently, LA Weather. So I enjoyed that. So I picked up another book. And this one is very, very interesting. It starts off, they're in a women's prison in Mexicali, and you meet the character. And she is basically, it splits between the characters in this prison that she is in, and you don't find out why she's there, and her telling her story by starting a book club and picking up a book, and instead of reading the book, she's just telling her story. And so you slowly get the story, and it's basically her family, her father had this story, her mom died when she was born, and she grew up, he was a trucker, and she grew up this trucker, and then it, slowly draws out how she ended up in this jail, and kind of then the story ends. It's very, very good. I enjoyed it a lot. So that's Gonzalez and Daughter Trucking Co. by Maria Amparo Escandon. So I recommend. What else? I'm doing more travels. So I'm going to Boston in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. We are specifically going to see the Dodgers play the Red Sox at Fenway. So this will also be my last opportunity to see my family there, because one of the big news I learned when I went to Florida is everybody. So right now my mom, my sister, my nieces and nephew, and my brother all live up in Rhode Island. I grew up in Massachusetts, right on the Rhode Island border. And they are all moving to Florida. My sister bought a new house. My mom is going to move in with my grandmother. My brother, I think, is just going to follow family. He might end up somewhere else, but yeah, big changes. So this will be the last time I get to visit them all up there. But it's going to be a quick trip. We're doing the red eye. We come in on a Wednesday. We fly back on a Saturday because I have Comic-Con tickets for the Sunday in San Diego. So we're going to do a one-day trip down there to kind of just walk the floor and stay in San Diego overnight. So we'll be super, super quick and crazy time. And then a few weeks after that, my niece comes. She's 15. She and her best friend are coming to stay with me for a week. And we will be doing, as they requested, the 3 things they requested are the beach, the Magic Mountain, and hiking. Hiking has got to be my niece's friend, because I've hiked with my niece. She does not enjoy it, but so I will be doing some stuff with them. I took like half a week off, so still trying to see. Yeah, I'm not onto roller coasters anymore, but I can take them there in a Magic Mountain. And then the big thing I'm still trying to plan and get, I am going to Hoji's retreat in Argentina over my birthday. I will be turning 49 this year. I'm very much looking forward to it, but I've got to, probably today and tomorrow, I've got to nail down my flights. I haven't done that yet. And what else I'm going to be doing in Argentina. There's just so many choices. I'm going with my brother, and I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do for the other week or so. Yeah, there's just choices. I just have to pull the trigger on something. And then for Christmas, we're talking now about going to Florida, which will be interesting. All my family will be down there. And then the other trip I have on the books for next year is Vietnam. And that is going with the same tour company that I went to Morocco with last year. So that is kind of what's happening. Oh, I was going to show one more thing because that's next to me. So one of the things I picked up in Florida, my mom is a heavy quilter. And I commissioned a baby blanket. She doesn't make things on time though. The baby was born. I just saw the picture. She's 3 months. And I don't know when I'm going to get this to them. But anyways, I was able to get the baby blanket that my mom made. And yeah, so I just thought I would show it because she does great work. And she also made a little basket to go with it because she had some scraps left over. But yeah, so I have a busy rest of my summer with all my trips and things like that. I will be getting some knitting done. I will be getting the sweater. I am really happy with where I am and my progress. The cowl I did was actually one of my Make 9 projects. And I think I've done 6 of my 9 Make 9s, and that's the projects I set with stash yarn. I've also been really good about trying to use up my old stash yarn, you know, trying to choose that, do some projects. So I think I'm going to meet that goal. I probably am not going to meet my goal of less yarn in than out, but you know, I have more storage room now, so I can store a little more. For me, that's kind of where it is. It's not necessarily yarn, but I was running out of my self-imposed storage, which was based on, I have like 3 bins and another glass front cabinet that has all of my sock yarn in it, and then everything else is in bins. And that was getting full because I have too many sweaters quantities because my friends enable me to do sweater quantities. The other thing I'm going to do is I got an email from Pearl Soho, and I've not really bought their yarn. This is the first time I'm knitting, but their warehouse is in Southern California. It's actually in Orange County, about 45 minutes away from where I live with no traffic. And because I bought with them, I got an email that they're having a warehouse sale next Saturday. So I might go down to that and check it out. Because they do have a lot of yarns on their website that look beautiful that I would like to see in person. And I love a sale. So I'm probably going to go check that out next weekend. So I might have some acquisition on the next podcast from that. We'll see. We'll see if I resist. I hope everyone's having a good summer if you're up in here in the Northern Hemisphere, winter if you're down in the Southern Hemisphere, time off. We have sun and, as I said, vacation. I actually have another day off. I thought I was going to be going to San Diego for a family party today, and so I had taken tomorrow off of work too. So I have one more extra day of vacation before I have to go back to work. I'm very excited about that. So I will get some knitting done, and yeah, that's what's happening. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is keeping themselves mentally well. It's a bit of a challenge if you are an American right now, I think. There's been a lot of bullshit. Let's just call it that. A lot of things going on that are troubling. A lot of things. Obviously, LA has had a lot of been in the news. We are continuing to have the impact from the ICE raids and other illegal things that are happening. And yes, they are. The way they pick people up on the street is just awful. And yeah, that's what's happening. But I hope that you come into your community and buckle down, look around, and see your friends and family, everyone who is worthy and deserves the services that we're going to be doing and other things that we're taking away so many rights. But I'm using my voice, and also, you know, I'm just trying to do what I can do, recognizing how blessed I am. And I'm very, very blessed in my life, with my family, with my friends, and where I am. And so I will do what I can to put out the good in the world, and hopefully that will spring the tide, change the tide, make a difference, you know, even a smile. Anyways, I hope everyone enjoys their knitting too. I'm enjoying my knitting a lot, and I'm going to enjoy it for the rest of today. That's a wrap from blah, blah, blah. That's a wrap from Hollywood, where fantasy meets fiber and dreams are knit. I can't remember my own catch line. Bye, everybody.